You ever notice how some people just walk into a room and they look rich? Like, you don't know their net worth, they're not wearing designer logos, but something about them just screams class. It's in the way they speak, the way they move, even the way they pause before answering. And no, I'm not talking about flashy watches or fake flexing on Instagram. I'm talking about the kind of quiet confidence that makes you think, yeah, this person has their life together. And here's the crazy part. Most of that isn't natural. It's built, practiced, through tiny, almost invisible habits. And today, I'm going to share 15 of those micro habits, the kind that anyone can start doing for free that will make you look instantly rich, even if your bank account says otherwise. Some of these I picked up from watching actual millionaires. Some came from embarrassing mistakes I made, like the time I wore a giant fake Gucci belt to a dinner and instantly regretted it. But hey, we learn, right? Let's get into it. Habit 1. Speak slowly like you have nothing to prove. You ever talk to someone who just rushes through their sentences like they're afraid someone's going to interrupt them or they'll lose their train of thought? Now think about rich people, especially the powerful ones. They speak slowly, calm, measured, almost like they know the world will wait for them to finish. And that's not an accident. Speaking slowly doesn't mean you're lazy or unsure. It actually sends a quiet but powerful message. I'm in control. I don't need to rush for anyone. Start paying attention to your pace when you talk. Do you start speeding up when you're nervous? Do you blurt things out just to avoid awkward silence? Here's a simple trick. Next time someone asks you a question, just pause for 2 seconds before answering. I know, it'll feel weird at first, like they're just staring at you, waiting. But you'll be surprised by how much more confident and powerful you sound. I remember trying this in a job interview once. I paused before speaking, and the guy actually leaned in, like I was about to drop some billion-dollar advice. I wasn't. I just needed a second to think. But that pause, that moment of calm, it changed everything. So start practicing this. Speak like every word costs money, and you're rich enough to afford them one at a time. Habit 2. Grooming that looks effortless. Here's a little secret. Rich doesn't look flashy, it looks polished. And grooming is the #1 giveaway. I'm not talking about spraying on luxury cologne or using some skincare routine. I'm talking about the basics. Clean nails, a sharp haircut, moisturized skin. That effortless look that deep down you know took some effort. Ever seen someone wearing just a plain white t-shirt and jeans, but they somehow look expensive? It's not the brand. It's the way everything is clean, fitted, and intentional. When I started leveling up how I looked, I made one simple rule for myself. Before I step out, I ask, does anything look sloppy? Wrinkled shirt, dry lips, dirty shoes. Time to fix it. Rich people don't just glow up for special occasions. They keep small grooming habits running every single day. Washing their face, checking their posture, keeping shoes clean. You don't need a personal stylist to look rich. You need a mirror and a little honesty. And the confidence that comes from being well-groomed, it hits different. People might not even know what's changed, but they'll feel it. And that feeling sticks.
Habit 3. Never complain publicly. It destroys your aura instantly. This one's powerful and so underrated. Life isn't fair. Things go wrong. People disappoint you. Plans fall apart. But the moment you start complaining about it out loud, especially in front of others, you lose a bit of that rich energy. Why? Because truly wealthy people don't play the victim. They focus on solutions. They stay in motion. Sure, they might vent privately, but in public, they stay composed. Think about it. Ever been around someone who's always negative, constantly complaining about their job, how life's unfair, how people suck? It drains you. Now flip it. You ever met someone who, even when things go sideways, just shrugs and says, "Ah, well, I'll figure it out"? That right there is rich energy. I started catching myself mid-sentence. I'd be about to complain about traffic or bad service or how long something was taking, and I'd stop. I'd reframe it in my head. Yeah, it's annoying, but I've got time. Let's just use this moment to breathe. It's such a small shift, but people notice. That calm, unbothered vibe, it sticks with people. And looking unshakable, especially when things aren't perfect, is one of the richest things you can do. Habit 4. Walk like you have a destination, even if you don't. Okay, hear me out. Next time you're at the mall, a train station, or just walking down a crowded street, take a moment to watch how people walk. You'll notice some folks dragging their feet, looking down, stopping and starting like they're lost or unsure of where they're going. Now contrast that with the ones who move like they own the place, back straight, chin up, eyes focused, steady pace. It's not really about walking fast, it's about walking with purpose. There's something about that kind of movement we instinctively associate it with confidence, direction, importance. It silently says, I've got things to do and places to be. I don't waste energy. Here's the funny part. Even when I'm just stepping out to grab a chai, I walk like I'm heading into a boardroom. Not in a stiff or arrogant way, just with quiet certainty. And you know what? People feel it. They start giving you more space. Eye contact lingers. Security guards nod at you. Strangers step aside. It's subtle, but it shifts how the world responds to you. So here's something to try. Next time you're out, imagine someone important is watching how you move, not in a paranoid way, but like you're being observed with respect. That slight shift in your walk, that's presence. And that presence, that's instant status. No designer shoes required. Habit 5. Master the art of silence in conversations. You know what rich people rarely do? They don't overshare. They're not the ones talking over everyone, interrupting mid-sentence, or trying to fill every awkward silence with noise. In fact, they're totally okay with silence, even the kind that most people squirm. And that silence, it's not awkward for them. It's a power move. There's a reason top-level CEOs, negotiators, and even therapists use pauses. They listen more than they speak, because when they finally do say something, people lean in. I remember once being in a room with this incredibly successful investor. Everyone else was chatting, making small talk, tossing around ideas like they were auditioning for Shark Tank. But him, he just sat quietly, nodding here and there, completely unbothered by the buzz. Then, at just the right moment, he spoke. Calmly, slowly, with complete control, and everyone shut up and listened. It wasn't even about what he said, it was the way he said it. And that's the thing. You don't have to talk a lot to be heard. You just have to speak with intent. So here's something you can try. Let people finish their thoughts. Don't interrupt. If there's a pause, let it sit for a second. Then respond slowly, clearly, like someone who knows their words carry weight. At first, it'll feel weird, like you're being too quiet or too slow. But soon, people will start seeing you differently, as someone who's composed, thoughtful, and quietly powerful. And honestly, that's rich energy at its finest. Habit 6. Your posture is your silent flex. This one is so basic and yet so often ignored. Your posture says everything about how you feel about yourself before you even open your mouth. When you slouch, cross your arms, or walk around staring at your phone, you're silently telling the world, I'm unsure, distracted, maybe even insecure. But the moment you lift your spine, open your chest, and relax your shoulders, everything changes. That's the body language of someone who's confident, someone who's present, someone who respects themselves. Think about actors playing powerful roles. Kings, CEOs, mob bosses. They don't fidget. They don't shrink themselves. They take up space with calm authority. I still remember the first time I fixed my posture in a meeting. I didn't change my words, just sat taller, pulled my shoulders back, planted my feet. But somehow, I got more eye contact, people listened more closely, I even got asked for my opinion more. And weirdly, I felt richer just sitting like that. Posture is your non-verbal first impression. And the best part is, it's completely free. It just takes awareness and a little consistency. So stand tall. Sit like someone who belongs at the head of the table. Walk like you've got a personal driver waiting outside. It's a micro habit, but the impact? Massive.
Habit 7. Use fewer words, but make each one count. Let me tell you, one of the quickest ways to not look rich is to talk too much. When you're constantly explaining, over-explaining, or repeating yourself just to be understood, it gives off nervous energy. You've probably been around someone who rambles on and on. It's exhausting, right? Deep down, that behavior screams, "Please take me seriously." But here's the truth. Rich energy is the opposite. It's quiet power. It's about saying exactly what needs to be said, clearly, confidently, and then stopping. I once watched an interview with a billionaire. Every answer he gave, just a sentence or two, 6 to 10 words max. Yet somehow he still came across as sharp, wise, and powerful. Why? Because he wasn't chasing approval. He didn't feel the need to fill silence or prove himself. You can practice this too. Say what you mean once. Don't justify every little thought. Don't beg for validation. And embrace a little mystery. Let people wonder what's going on in your head. That calm, concise way of speaking, it gives you presence. You don't need fancy words to sound wealthy. You just need clarity and the confidence to know that less is more. Habit 8. Stop checking your phone in front of others. This one's massive, and yet almost everyone gets it wrong. Imagine you're sitting with someone, having a conversation, and they keep glancing at their phone, scrolling mindlessly, replying to random notifications, breaking eye contact every few seconds. It feels disrespectful, doesn't it? Now flip that scenario. Picture someone who, the moment you start talking, puts their phone away, face down, out of sight, and gives you their full, undivided attention. It feels completely different. Like they're truly present. Like your words matter. That's how rich people operate. They're not ruled by distractions. They don't let every ping dictate their behavior. Instead, they stay grounded in the moment. They control the energy in the room. I started doing something simple. Whenever I meet someone, I keep my phone in my pocket or bag, and I stay present. And you know what? People notice. They open up more. They respect you more. We tend to think checking our phones is harmless, but it sends a very clear message. I'm not fully here. Rich energy is about full presence. And in a world addicted to distractions, that's one of the rarest and most powerful flexes you can have. Habit 9. Wear one signature item, but never overdo it. Let's talk about style, and not the flashy kind. You don't need a $2,000 watch or a Louis Vuitton bag to look rich. In fact, one well-chosen signature item can transform your entire vibe. It could be something as simple as a clean silver ring, a matte black watch, a perfectly fitted white shirt, or even a distinct scent that people start associating with you. The key is subtlety with intention. People with real wealth don't shout. Their details whisper. When you pile on 10 accessories that clash with each other, it doesn't say rich, it says trying too hard. I used to make that mistake myself, stacking on a watch, a chain, sunglasses, rings, thinking I was making a bold statement. But all it really said was that I was overcompensating. So I simplified. Now I stick to a single bracelet and a clean, classic watch. Funny thing is, that's when people started complimenting my style. not because it was expensive, but because it felt deliberate. So pick your item, make it part of your identity, and let it speak for you, quietly, but with presence. Habit 10. Don't overshare. Mystery feels expensive. There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't reveal everything. You ask about their job, and they simply say, I do a few things, keeps me busy. And that's it. No details, no follow-up, just enough to spark curiosity. You want to know more, but they don't author it up, and suddenly you're leaning in. That's the power of mystery, and it feels luxurious. Most people, though, have this urge to fill silence with their entire life story. Where they work, what went wrong in their last relationship, how much their rent is. It's like emotional word vomit. But rich people don't spill. They curate. They reveal things slowly, if at all. Because when you already feel secure and enough, you don't crave constant validation. I used to overshare everything. My dreams, struggles, even childhood trauma, all in the first 10 minutes of a conversation. I thought it made me real and vulnerable, but truthfully, it just felt messy. Now, I share 10% and let the silence hold the rest. That shift makes your words feel more valuable, like you're holding rare cards, not tossing your whole hand on the table. Habit 11. Sit like you belong, not like you're waiting to be approved. Let's talk about how you sit. It might sound silly, but your posture in a chair says a lot more than you think. People who feel small tend to sit small, legs tight, arms folded, hunched forward, almost like they're asking the room for permission to exist. But those who carry rich energy, they sit like the room was made for them. Not in an arrogant or disrespectful way, but with a calm, quiet ease. They lean back slightly, rest an arm casually on the chair, plant their feet firmly, and keep their chin level. You can practice this anywhere, in a coffee shop, a waiting room, or even in your living room. It's about being truly comfortable in space. Because the people who command rooms never look like they're trying to impress anyone. They sit like their presence is already enough. So try this next time you're out. Take your seat, uncross your arms, relax your jaw, breathe slowly, and keep your phone tucked away. Just exist, fully. You'll feel the shift, and the people around you will feel it too.
Habit 12. Speak from your chest, not your throat. Ever notice someone speaking with a shaky, high-pitched, or breathy voice? That's what's known as throat speaking. It usually stems from nervousness or trying too hard to sound polite and non-threatening. Now compare that to someone who speaks from their chest. Their voice sounds deeper, calmer, and far more controlled. There's a quiet strength to it. Rich energy doesn't just live in your words, it lives in your tone. Think of Morgan Freeman's narration. He doesn't need to raise his voice, but he has complete command of the room. And here's the good news. You don't need a naturally deep voice to project that same energy. What you need is breath control. Slow down, breathe from your diaphragm. Visualize your words coming from deep in your chest rather than the top of your throat. Try this exercise. Say, "I've got this," first in a breathy, unsure tone, then again in a grounded, chest-driven voice. The difference is huge. One sounds like a question, the other sounds like a leader. Habit 13. Say no without explaining yourself. This one, rich people have it mastered. Most of us struggle to say no. We dance around it, soften it, over-explain. We'll say things like, "I would, but I've just been really busy and I'm not feeling great, and maybe next time, okay?" That's not a no, that's a scared maybe. Now observe someone with real status say no. It's clean, direct, and confident. "Thanks, but I'll pass." No lengthy explanation, no guilt, just a firm boundary. Because rich energy isn't about being rude, it's about knowing your worth and not feeling the need to justify every choice. Saying no without over-explaining sends a powerful message. My time matters. I'm not available for everything, and that's perfectly okay. I used to struggle with this a lot. I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings or seem impolite. But the truth is, people don't respect vague maybes. They respect clear, confident boundaries. So practice this. The next time someone invites you to something you're not interested in, say, "Thanks for the invite, but I'll sit this one out." No story, no fake excuse, just honesty and clarity. You'll feel more powerful, and people will start respecting your yes a lot more too. Habit 14. Read, but don't brag about it. Weird one, right? But stick with me. Reading books, especially on money, mindset, and psychology, builds inner wealth. It sharpens the way you think, speak, and see the world. But here's the real flex, not announcing it to everyone. There's an insecure energy in constantly saying, "I just read this book by Naval Ravikant, and I'm doing these new mental models." It often comes off like someone trying too hard to sound smart. Now contrast that with someone who simply speaks with quiet wisdom. They don't name drop books or quote authors, they just live the ideas, and it shows. That's rich energy. Personally, I read every day, but I rarely talk about the books themselves. Instead, I let the insights show up in how I communicate, make decisions, and solve problems. One of the wealthiest people I know once told me, "If you're truly learning, you don't need to announce it. People will feel it." So read, grow, evolve, but let your results do the talking, because real power is always silent. Habit 15. Be unbothered by small things. This one might be the most powerful of all. You know what broke energy looks like? Getting mad over slow Wi-Fi, yelling at a waiter, throwing shade at someone online because of a comment. It's reactive, it's loud, and it's deeply insecure. Rich energy, on the other hand, is calm. It's that quiet, collected confidence that says, "This isn't worth my energy." Think about it. When was the last time you saw a billionaire arguing over $10 or losing it in traffic? They don't, because they've got bigger things to focus on. And you can practice that too, starting right now. The next time something annoys you, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most of the time, the answer will be no. Someone cuts you off? Let it go. Someone rude online? Block and move on. Your order's late? Shrug it off. Being unbothered is rare, and in a world addicted to overreacting, calm is the new luxury. When you move like that, slow, steady, unfazed, people assume you're on a different level. And they're right. You are.
If even one of these habits made you sit up and think, "Damn, I gotta start doing that," then hey, imagine what happens when you keep leveling up every week. That's what this channel's all about. No fluff, no fake flexing, just real stuff that actually upgrades your life. So if that's your vibe, do me a favor. Hit that like button so YouTube knows this was worth watching. Share it with a friend who's on the same journey. And most importantly, subscribe, because we've got more coming that'll shift how you move, think, and carry yourself. Appreciate your time. Now go out there and show the world some of that quiet, rich energy. Catch you in the next one.